Talmud Bavli, Tractate Beitzah, page 10. A. Beitzah, Daf Yudam Aleph, top of the page, with the words Aval Hecha, Deleka, Dekar Neutz, etc. However, where there is no embedded shovel, even Bet Shammai did not permit it. Alternatively, it is possible that Beit Hillel say their opinion only here, since the dove is muktzah, which is prohibited by rabbinic law. And therefore, when he stands and says, I will take this and that, it is enough. However, there, where the prohibition applies by Torah law, they did not say so. But rather, there is a difficulty involving a contradiction. This is the difficulty from a different Mishnah, 11a. Beit Shammai say one may not take a large pestle from a mortar, which is normally used for crushing wheat in the preparation of porridge, for any other purpose on a festival. For example, to cut meat on it, and Beit Hillel permit this. Apparently, with regard to rejoicing on the festival, the opinion of Beit Shammai is stringent, and that of Beit Hillel is lenient. And the Gemara raises a contradiction with regard to one who slaughters an undomesticated animal or a fowl on a festival. Beit Shammai say he may dig earth with a shovel and cover the blood. And Beit Hillel say he may not slaughter an undomesticated animal or a fowl unless he had earth prepared for that purpose while it was still day. It was in this regard that Rabbi Yochanan said the attribution of opinions is reversed. From where do you know this? The Gemara rejects this. From where do you know this? Perhaps it is not so. Rather, Beit Shammai say their opinion only there, where there is a shovel embedded and prepared the day before. But where there is no embedded shovel, they did not rule leniently. Alternatively, one can say that Beit Hillel say their opinion only here, with regard to a pestle which at least has the status of a vessel, and therefore is not completely muktzah. However, there, in the case of slaughtering, Beit Hillel did not issue a lenient ruling. Rather, if there is a difficulty, this is the difficulty. It is taught in the Mishnah in 11a. Beit Shammai say one may not place an unprocessed hide before those who will tread on it, as this is an instance of the prohibited labor of tanning on a festival. And one may not lift the hide from its spot, as it is considered muktzah, unless there is an olive bulk of meat on it, in which case it may be carried on account of its meat. And Beit Hillel permit one to place a hide before those who will tread upon it. Once again, the Gemara states, apparently with regard to rejoicing on the festival, the opinion of Beit Shammai is stringent, and that of Beit Hillel is lenient. And the Gemara raises a contradiction. With regard to one who slaughters an undomesticated animal, or a fowl on festival, Beit Shammai say, etc. Concerning this case, Rabbi Yochanan said the attribution of the opinions is reversed. Here too, the Gemara rejects this. From where do you know this? Perhaps that is not so. Rather, Beit Shammai say their opinion only there, where there is a shovel embedded and prepared the day before. But where there is no embedded shovel, they did not rule leniently. Alternatively, Beit Hillel say their opinion only here with regard to a hide which is suitable for people to recline upon, and therefore it is not completely muktzah. However, there, in the case of slaughtering, they were not lenient. Rather, if there is a difficulty, this is the difficulty. As it is taught, 11a, Beit Shammai say, one may not remove the shutters of a store on a festival to open the store by raising them, due to the prohibition against building and demolishing on a festival. And Beit Hillel permit not only to open the shutters, but even to replace them. Apparently, with regard to rejoicing on the festival, the opinion of Beit Shammai is stringent, and that of Beit Hillel is lenient. And the Gemara raises a contradiction. With regard to one who slaughters an undomesticated animal or a fowl on a festival, Beit Shammai say, etc. Granted, the contradiction between the one statement of Beit Shammai and the other statement of Beit Shammai is not difficult, as it can be explained as follows. There, in the slaughtering case, it is referring to a situation where there is a shovel embedded and prepared the day before. Here there is no embedded shovel, and therefore Beit Shammai are stringent. However, the contradiction between one statement of Beit Hillel and the other statement of Beit Hillel is difficult. It is with regard to this contradiction that Rabbi Yochanan said the attribution of the opinions are reversed. The Gemara comments, alternatively, one can suggest a different answer without reversing the opinions. Beit Hillel say their lenient opinion only here in the case of the shutters, because they maintain that there is no prohibition against building with regard to vessels, and there is no prohibition against dismantling with regard to vessels, which means that no Torah prohibition is violated in removing the shutters. However, there, in the case of slaughtering, where there are no extenuating circumstances, Beit Hillel did not permit it. Consequently, there is no contradiction that necessitates a reversal of the opinions. New Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Beit Shammai say one may not take fledgling doves from a dovecote on a festival unless he shook the ones he wished to take while it was still day, thereby preparing them. And Beit Hillel say it is not necessary to shake. Rather, it is sufficient if one stands the day before and says, I will take this fledgling and that one. Gemara, the Talmud says, Rav Chanan bar Ami said, the dispute between Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel applies to the first brood, the pair of fledglings hatched in the first month of the year from a pair of doves. Those fledglings are usually left in the nest and are not used for food. As Beit Shammai hold, we issue a decree prohibiting taking them, as perhaps in the festival he will come to reconsider after handling them and decide to leave them in their place, in which case he has moved them unnecessarily. However, once he has already shaken them, there is no further concern that he might change his mind on the festival itself. And Beit Hillel hold, we do not issue a decree, as there is no concern that one might change his mind, and therefore a verbal commitment is sufficient. However, with regard to the second brood, the fledglings born on the second cycle in the following month, everyone agrees that it is enough for one to stand and say, I will take this one and that one. The Gemara asks, and according to the opinion of Beit Hillel, why does one need to say, I will take this one and that one? Let him say, from here, this dovecote I will take tomorrow. Why does one have to specify exactly which fledglings he plans to remove from the dovecote? And if you say that Beit Hillel do not accept the principle of retroactive designation. Retroactive designation. In other words, they reject the idea that a person's original intention can be clarified retroactively. And therefore, it cannot be said that the fledglings one takes on the festival were the ones he had in mind beforehand. But didn't we learn in a Mishnah, in Ohalot 7:3, if a corpse is located in a house, and the house has many entrances, whether they are open or closed, not only is the inside of the house ritually impure as a tent of the dead, but all the entrances are likewise ritually impure and impart impurity to vessels they contain. The reason is that the corpse might be removed via any of the entrances, and therefore they all contract impurity. If only one of the entrances was open after the person died, that entrance alone is ritually impure, as the corpse will certainly be removed through it, and all the other entrances remain ritually pure. The same applies if one decided from the outset to remove the corpse through one of the entrances, or to carry it out through a window that is 4x4 handbreadths in size, which is large enough for a corpse. This intention spares all the other entrances from ritual impurity, as it is clear that the corpse will not be removed through them. With regard to this case, Beit Shammai say, this halacha applies only if one had decided to remove the corpse by a particular entrance before the person died. With regard to this case, Beit Shammai say, this halacha applies only if one had decided to remove the corpse by a particular entrance before the person died, so that the entrance through which the body would be removed was already determined at the time of death. And Beit Hillel say this halacha applies even after the person died, as the principle of retroactive designation is involved, which means the entrance through which the deceased will be removed is retroactively designated. This indicates that Beit Hillel do accept the principle of retroactive designation. The Gemara refutes this proof. Wasn't it stated by Amoraim with regard to this Mishnah that Rabbah said in this case Beit Hillel referred only to purifying the entrances from that point forward? In other words, after one has decided on an entrance he will use to remove the dead, any vessels in the space of the other entrances do not become ritually impure. However, vessels that were located inside the space of the other entrances before the decision was made remain impure. According to those Amoraim, Beit Hillel do not accept the principle of retroactive designation. And so too, Rav Oshaya said this halacha is referring to purifying the entrances from that point forward, which indicates from here onward, yes, the entrances are ritually pure. Retroactively, no, they are not considered pure. Rava said that there is a different way to resolve the conflicting rulings of Beit Hillel. Actually, in the case of ritual impurity, Beit Hillel maintained that all the entrances are ritually pure retroactively. And here, with regard to fledglings, This is the reason why Beit Hillel insists that one designate which particular fledglings one plans to take out on the festival. Perhaps one will move fledglings and put them down, and again move them and put them down until he finds the pair he wants, thereby moving an object that is not suitable for him. In other words, which is muksa. The Gemara raises an objection, but if this is indeed the concern, didn't you say that it is enough? If one stands and says, I will take this one and that one, in this case too, he does not touch them. It is therefore possible that he may reconsider his choice of fledglings on the festival after he handles them. The Gemara answers this applies only when one made his choice on the eve of the festival, since he knows that he may not alter his decision on the festival itself. Even if he does not like the ones he chose, he definitely decides to take those fledglings, and he will not handle others.